My dad kicked me out at 16 claiming, "You are not my daughter." 20 years later, a DNA test revealed the sickening truth about his perfect son. The thunder didn't just rumble that night. It shook the very foundation of the house I grew up in. But the storm outside was nothing compared to the hurricane raging inside the living room of 42 Oakwood Drive. I can still remember the smell of that night. The scent of rain on hot asphalt mixed with the sharp metallic tang of fear. My suitcase, a battered old thing I had dragged down from the attic, sat by the door like a coffin from my childhood. "I want her out," my father Richard said. His voice wasn't loud. It was terrifyingly quiet. He didn't look at me. He looked at the wall, holding a glass of scotch so tightly his knuckles were white. "I want her out of my house, Linda. Tonight." "Richard, please," my mother whispered, clutching her pearls as if they were a lifeline. "She's only 16. Where will she go? It's pouring outside." "I don't care where she goes," Richard snapped, finally turning his gaze toward me. His eyes, dark and cold, drilled into mine. My green eyes. The eyes that had been the source of his hatred for as long as I could remember. I have fed her, clothed her, and tolerated her presence for 16 years. But I am done playing the fool. I am done raising another man's bastard. My name is Chloe. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, subscribe to my channel and let me know where you're listening from. I stood there, shivering in my damp hoodie, feeling my world collapse. "Dad," I choked out, my voice cracking. "I am your daughter. Why are you doing this? What did I do?" "Don't call me that," he roared, hurling his glass against the fireplace. It shattered into 1,000 pieces, just like my heart. "Look at you. Look at your eyes. No one in my family has green eyes, Chloe. No one. You are a constant reminder of your mother's infidelity. I have looked at you every day and seen a stranger. I'm done. I want to focus on my real child. My son." He gestured to the staircase. My younger brother, Tyler, was standing there. He was 12, with dark hair and dark eyes, just like Richard. He looked at me not with sadness, but with a smirk. The smirk of the golden child who knew he had just won the entire kingdom. "Get out," Richard hissed. "If you are still here in 5 minutes, I'm calling the police and having you removed as a trespasser." My mother didn't move. She didn't step between us. She didn't scream that he was wrong. She just looked down at the expensive Persian rug, choosing her comfort over her daughter. That silence hurt more than the rain ever could. I grabbed the handle of my suitcase and opened the heavy oak door. The wind hit me instantly, soaking me to the bone. I stepped out onto the porch, looked back one last time, and saw my father turn his back to pour another drink. He didn't watch me leave. He had already erased me. I walked. I walked until the lights of the affluent suburbs faded into the flickering streetlights of the city limits. That night, I slept under the concrete awning of a bus station, clutching my backpack, listening to the cars hiss by on the wet road. I promised myself one thing that night. I wasn't going to die here. I wasn't going to let his hatred be the end of my story. The struggle. The years in between. The next 20 years were not a montage of easy victories. They were a brutal, grinding war. I spent the first 2 years bouncing between youth shelters and sleeping on friends' couches. I worked illegal shifts washing dishes in the back of a greasy diner because I was underage. My hands, once soft from piano lessons, became red, cracked, and calloused. I learned that hunger isn't just a feeling in your stomach. It's a noise in your head that never stops. But I had a weapon my father didn't account for. My mind. Richard thought I was worthless because of my genetics. He didn't realize that his stubbornness, his relentless drive, I had that too. Whether he liked it or not, I had his fire. I finished high school through night classes while working 2 jobs. I got a full scholarship to college, then medical school. I chose hematology and oncology. I wanted to understand blood. I wanted to understand the very thing that had been used to condemn me. I wanted to be the master of genetics, of marrow, of life itself. While my friends were partying in their 20s, I was in the lab. While they were going on vacations, I was staring at microscopes until my eyes burned. I became Dr. Chloe Evans. I built a reputation as one of the best diagnostic specialists in Chicago. I bought a penthouse overlooking the lake, not with family money, but with money I earned saving lives. I kept tabs on them, of course. It's hard not to. I knew Richard's real estate business had taken a hit in 2018. I knew Tyler had dropped out of college twice and was working at his dad's company, which basically meant collecting a paycheck for breathing. I knew they were still in that big, cold house. But they didn't know me. To them, Chloe was a bad memory. A stain they had scrubbed out. Until the day the phone rang. The call. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was reviewing a patient's chart when my personal cell buzzed. Unknown caller. Dr. Evans speaking, I answered, my voice professional and detached. Chloe. The voice was older, shakier, but instantly recognizable. It was the sound of betrayal. It was my mother. I didn't say anything for a long time. I just listened to her breathing on the other end. Chloe, please don't hang up, she begged, her voice thick with tears. I got your number from the hospital directory. We need you. You need me? I let out a dry, humorless laugh. That's funny, Linda. Because I needed you 20 years ago when I was sleeping on a bench at the Greyhound station. You didn't seem very available then. I know, she sobbed. I know we failed you. I live with that guilt every day. But it's your father. It's Richard. I don't have a father, I said, reaching to end the call. He's dying, Chloe. He has acute myeloid leukemia. It's aggressive. The chemotherapy failed. His body is shutting down. He needs a stem cell transplant immediately. If he doesn't get one within the week, he's going to die. I spun my chair around to look out the window at the city skyline. That sounds like a case for his doctors. Why are you calling me? Because we tested Tyler, she whispered, the shame evident in her voice. He's not a match. We searched the National Registry. No matches close enough. You are the only one left. You are his only biological relative who could save him. Please. Chloe. I know you hate us. But he is still your dad. Just come and get tested. We will pay you. We will give you anything you want. Money. Again. They thought everything could be fixed with a check. I'm not coming for the money, I said coldly. Then why? Curiosity, I lied. And maybe because I want to see him. I want to see the man who claimed I wasn't his daughter beg for my blood. Thank you, she wept. Thank you. We are at St. Jude's. Please hurry. The return. Walking into St. Jude's Hospital as a visiting specialist felt very different from leaving my childhood home as a reject. I wore my best tailored suit, my white coat draped over my arm, and my heels clicked with authority on the linoleum floors. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the authority. I found his room, the VIP suite on the top floor. When I opened the door, the smell of antiseptic and decaying flowers hit me. Richard was lying in the bed. He looked small. The terrifying giant of my youth had deflated. His skin was gray, his hair was gone, and tubes ran in and out of his arms like spiderwebs. Tyler was sitting in the corner, playing a game on his iPhone. He looked up, annoyed, until he saw me. His jaw dropped. He looked at my suit, my expensive bag, the way the nurses outside nodded respectfully to me. He looked at himself, rumpled shirt, expensive watch bought with daddy's money, and a face that showed zero character. Chloe. Richard rasped. He opened his eyes. They were yellowed and tired. I walked to the foot of the bed. Hello, Richard. You came, he whispered. A tear leaked from his eye. I didn't think you would. I'm here for a consult, I said, keeping my distance. And for a blood draw. That's it. I'm sorry, he mumbled, though it sounded more like fear than remorse. I was hard on you. But look at you. You're a doctor. Maybe my tough love made you strong. I felt a surge of rage so hot it almost blinded me. Tough love? You threw a 16-year-old into a thunderstorm because of her eye color. Don't rewrite history to make yourself feel better. I succeeded despite you, not because of you. My mother stepped forward, trying to touch my arm. Chloe, please. Let's not fight. We just need to know if you're a match. If you are, we can be a family again. Let's get the needles, I said, pulling my arm away. I ordered the full panel. Not just the HLA typing for the transplant, but a full genetic ancestry and paternity profile. I told the lab technicians, people I knew and trusted, to rush it. I wanted everything. I had a suspicion. A gut feeling that had been gnawing at me since medical school when I learned about recessive gene expression. I waited in the hospital cafeteria, drinking black coffee. 4 hours later, my phone pinged. It was the results. I opened the digital file. I scanned the numbers. HLA markers. Antigen compatibility. Paternity index. I stopped. I read it again. Then I started to laugh. I laughed so hard that a nurse at the next table asked if I was okay. I'm better than okay, I told her, wiping a tear from my eye. I just found the punchline to a 20-year-old joke. I printed the documents. I walked back to the elevator. It was time for the show. The revelation. When I re-entered the room, the atmosphere was tense. Richard was wheezing. Tyler was pacing. My mother looked like she was about to faint. Well, Tyler asked, stopping his pacing. Are you a match or not? Dad's oxygen levels are dropping. I stood at the end of the bed, holding the folder like a judge holds a verdict. I have the results, I announced. My voice was calm, surgical, and they are quite illuminating. Just tell me. Richard gasped, trying to sit up. Can you save me? The answer to the first question, I said, looking him dead in the eye, is yes. I am a 100% HLA match for you, Richard. It's actually rare to see a match this perfect. Relief washed over the room. My mother let out a sob of joy. Richard closed his eyes and smiled. Oh, thank God. Thank God. See, I knew it. We can fix this. Chloe, you'll do it, right? You'll donate. Wait, I said, raising a hand. I'm not finished interpreting the data. You see, Richard, being a perfect match proves something else. Something you denied for 20 years. I pulled out the first page and threw it on his blanket. It proves, scientifically and irrefutably, that I am your biological daughter. My DNA is half yours. The green eyes? They came from your great-grandmother. I checked the family records. It skipped 2 generations and landed on me. You threw your own flesh and blood into the street for absolutely nothing. Richard looked at the paper, his hands trembling. I didn't know. I was so sure. But that's not the best part, I interrupted. I turned to my mother. She had gone pale. Ghostly pale. She knew what was coming. She started shaking her head slightly, begging me with her eyes. Don't. Please don't. I didn't care. You see, I continued, turning back to Richard, to find a match, we usually test all siblings. You told me Tyler wasn't a match. I found that odd. Siblings usually have at least a partial match. So, I ran a paternity panel on Tyler's sample too. Just to be thorough. What are you doing? Tyler said, stepping forward aggressively. Give me that. I sidestepped him and locked eyes with Richard. Richard, do you remember why you kicked me out? You said you wanted to focus on your real son. Your heir. The one who looked like you. Yes. Richard whispered, dread creeping into his voice. Well, I said, dropping the second piece of paper onto his chest. It turns out, biology has a sense of humor. Tyler is not a match for you because Tyler is not related to you. The silence in the room was absolute. The only sound was the heart monitor beeping faster and faster. Beep, beep, beep. What? Richard wheezed. That's impossible. He looks just like me. He looks like Mom, I corrected. And he shares markers with. Let me see here. I pretended to read the chart. Ah, yes. High probability of paternal lineage from the southern Mediterranean region. Who was that tennis instructor Mom used to spend so much time with the summer of '98? Marco. My mother let out a wail that shattered the room. She collapsed into the visitor chair, burying her face in her hands. Linda. Richard's voice was a broken croak. He looked at his wife. Linda, tell me she's lying. Tell me Tyler is mine. I'm sorry, she screamed. I'm so sorry, Richard. You were always working. You were never there. It just happened. Richard's face turned a violent shade of purple. The machine started alarming. His heart rate was spiking. He looked at Tyler, the boy he had spoiled, the boy he had given everything to, the boy he had loved while hating me. He looked at a stranger. And you? Richard gasped, looking at me. You are. I'm the only one, I said softly. I'm the only child you ever had. And you threw me away like garbage. Chloe, Richard begged, reaching a hand out towards me. His fingers were shaking. Chloe, please. You're my daughter. My girl. Please. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But you can save me. I'm your father. Forgive me. Give me the marrow. I'll change the will. I'll give you the company. I'll give you everything. I looked at his hand. It was the same hand that had pointed to the door 20 years ago. I looked at Tyler, who was staring at his mother in horror, realizing his entire identity was a lie. I looked at my mother, a woman who had let an innocent child suffer to protect her own dirty secret. I don't want the company, Richard, I said calmly. I built my own. And I don't want your money. I have plenty. Then what do you want? He cried. I'm dying. I buttoned my coat and picked up my bag. I want you to know, I said, leaning in close so only he could hear. I want you to know that as you take your last breath, you are dying because of the choice you made. You chose the lie over the truth. Now, the lie can't save you. And the truth? The truth is walking out the door. No, Chloe. No, he screamed. The monitors began to blare a code alarm. Nurses started rushing down the hall. I turned around and walked toward the door. "You can't do this," Tyler yelled, grabbing my arm. "He's going to die." I pulled my arm free and looked at him with pity. "He's not your father, Tyler. Technically, this is a family matter. And you're not family." I walked out of the room. Behind me, I heard the chaos. I heard the doctors shouting, "Code Blue." I heard my mother screaming my name. I heard Richard's gasping, terrified sobs. I walked to the elevator and pressed the button. When the doors opened, I stepped inside and turned around. Through the glass of the ICU window down the hall, I saw them swarming his bed. The doors slid shut, cutting off the noise. The silence in the elevator was beautiful. I walked out of the hospital into the cool evening air. The rain from 20 years ago had finally stopped. The sky was clear, filled with stars. I took a deep breath, filling my lungs with the sweet, clean air of freedom. I didn't save him. But for the first time in my life, I had saved myself.